What's up, interwebs? What's up, DFS Army? Guess what's back? NBA. NBA is finally back. And I couldn't be happier. It's like Christmas. I couldn't 2-game slate. Yeah. I wish it was a 6-gamer. Not a whole lot we can do there, but the prize pools are just unbelievable. Let's wait till we get a few people in here and we'll get after it. But they're just amazing prize pools. $1 million up top, both FanDuel and DraftKings. $4 entry. I'm sure we'll see a bunch of overlay in these contests. We saw it with NBA when they went live. It was pretty crazy, to say the least. It was almost free money contest. I don't see how these are going to. I don't see how these are going to fill. Just looking at these contests for tomorrow, DraftKings almost 900,000 entrants. It is only 150,000 filled, so I don't think it's going to fill. Same thing with FanDuel. It's only about 30% full. Same kind of thing. Million up top. Probably going to be a big share of this, but at the same time, you want a piece of it. And I think we can get there. It's a pretty interesting slate for the most part. Again, with this bubble, with COVID, how everything's going on, noticed it in baseball with baseball starting out, with a lot more scratches, and we're probably going to see it here with basketball. But with these slates, how they're kind of like Christmas Day slates. If you play a lot of NBA and you notice how the Christmas Day slates are kind of broken out, and you got games all through the day. So we're going to see a lot of games that start around noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Coast time and go all the way through 10 p.m. So we're going to have a lot of games throughout the day. So it's fantastic if you're a basketball fan, if you're a DFS fan, you want to watch these games where you're not trying to watch 6 at once. You can watch 1 or 2. It's just going to be freaking awesome. And again, to open up $1 million up top on both DraftKings and FanDuel, you got to play these. You got to max them, especially if there's going to be overlay. If you have a chance to go for $1 million, kind of like we did with baseball, you got to play these things, man. So really pumped. If you're not a part of DFS Army, come over here and join us, man. Our optimization tool is called Domination Station. It is locked and loaded. It has all the projections in here. And it's fantastic. We got everything. The and 1 rating, it's in there. We got that from a research station. Our research station is online. Just got that up today. Anything you want, that's in here. If you want to go see how these guys did against past opponents, I think a lot of these stats are going to be kind of taken with a grain of salt. These guys have been off a while. Yeah, they've been practicing like a preseason in this bubble. But I'm not going to, rely so heavily on, say, the ADVP that we have. These guys are playing for a championship. Some of these teams are on the bubble trying to make it in. One of the teams here on Thursday, the Pelicans, man, with Zion. I think Zion's a game time decision now because he's out with a personal reason, but he should play. But let's go through these injuries real quick. Bojan Bogdanovic, he is out. So we'll more than likely see Joe Ingles again getting that starting lineup. And what this does is if we come over here to the Domination Station and we just sort by fantasy points per dollar. This is on DraftKings. Jordan Clarkson, man, he's one of my favorite plays for tomorrow. I got him with about a 30-point projection. I know that's pretty damn aggressive, but him coming off the bench against this Pelicans team that definitely plays up in pace. Really like some Jordan Clarkson. So with Bojan out, I think he's probably my favorite guy to play at price. He's just at $4,200 in salary. You gotta love that. So definitely one of my favorite plays. Rajon Rondo, he broke his thumb, so he's out. So again, we're probably going to see some Alex Caruso. I think he's going to get the best bump here. I don't think we'll see a ton of Quinn Cook. LeBron James is going to run point when he's out there. Caruso can play off that. But I do think some of these guys that they brought in here while they've been off have been could be interesting, man. Guys like Dion Waiters could be extremely interesting in this. We got to look for guys that are going to win us that $1 million. So guys like Dion Waiters that they brought in, J.R. Smith, I think those guys could be, where you can maybe get a little different. Maybe people go really heavy on Alex Caruso, and it's one of those guys. So I think one of those Lakers guys might surprise some people. It's going to be hard to kind of pick out, who's going to do most of the scoring there. But I think I'm going to be heavy on Dion Waiters, old chubby. But one of those two guys. And then the big news for the Clippers here, man. Lou Williams. Come on, Lou. You're killing it. You're going out for a personal reason. Want to go to a strip club. Back in quarantine. Screw things up. Come on, sweet Lou, man. You're better than that. Don't do that. Montrezl Harrell. He's out as well. So we're going to see some guys here in the Clippers as well. JaMychal Green is probably going to see a big bump here in minutes. They do have Joakim Noah now, which they didn't have before. So Joakim Noah and maybe Pat, they could see some extra minutes as well. But I think JaMychal Green's going to be the guy that's going to get the most minutes here. We could see some Noah. Again, he's not the guy that we've seen back when he was with the Bulls or the Knicks a long time ago. So I'm not too excited about him. And then at the guards, we could see some Terrence Mann, maybe some Rodney Magruder. I think I'm just going to lean heavily on Chris Paul. Paul George. 7,200 is way too cheap. I prefer him over, than Kawhi Leonard. It's just way too cheap here. And so I really like Clarkson and George at the price. A lot of these Jazz guys are underpriced. Donovan Mitchell at $7K here on DraftKings. Rudy Gobert at $7,100. They're just too cheap. So I think you'll see a lot of ownership on those guys where, if we go look at the Lakers, LeBron James is 10.7, Anthony Davis at 10K. What's up, Brett Slinger? How you doing, man? It's been a while. Yeah, NBA is back. It's good to be back here, man. What's up, James? How's things going? Everybody ready to win that $1 million? What's up, man? Yeah, I haven't seen since the Rona. Yeah. It's been a while for some NBA. Like I said, this is like Christmas Eve for a lot of guys that love NBA DFS, and it's pretty exciting to have it back. So I'm pumped. Well, if you guys got any questions, man, just pop them in here and we'll talk shop for sure. But again, I think just first look at this thing, Jordan Clarkson's where I'm going to be landing the most. And again, projection ownership, we have him around 40% right now. I could see that pushing 40 to 50. Just at his price, he makes a lot of things work. So here for you, that's not a part of DFS Army. Here's our domination station. Again, this was the optimizer. We got tiers and showdown as well. But for the main slate here, when I usually run this, you can run up to 300 lineups on this thing. But say if we're going to run 150, a 2-game slate like this, I'll use one unique. I won't use more than that. I like to keep my player pool pretty tight. So thanks, Bread Slinger. Appreciate it, man. So I'll keep it 150, one unique. I usually run tournament mode. It kind of spreads things out a little bit more instead of optimal mode. So either one of those are fine. DFS Army points where we want it, and then we'll run it off server. I don't mess with the randomization with NBA. I don't. Baseball I do just because it's a way more variant sport, but NBA I kind of leave it like that. And then the player pool. Now, if you're running 150 lineups, there are some guys that I don't want part of this at all. I don't want anything to do with them. So I will take some of these guys out that are down here. I really don't want any Frank Jackson. Like I said, Noah could be interesting. Let me sort this by fantasy points per dollar. I just want to get these guys out of the pool that I don't really really want to play. Again, Magruder could be interesting. Maybe I'll just get a little bit of him. But I definitely don't want any Frank Jackson. I don't think he's going to get the minutes that we need. I don't really want a ton of more either. So maybe I'll pull him out. If I don't think Noah's going to get a lot of run, I might leave him in there. Like I said, J.R. Smith's a wild card. That dude could play a few minutes or a bunch. I might just leave it like this and run it and see where we're at. So if we run 150 here, max percentage, I might just throw this at 70 for now. And we'll just run it and see what we get, see what the optimal spits out without changing too many things. And again, you can get all over this over at DFSArmy. If you want to save 20%, use code CashKeg. Get you in here, man. Answering questions. We'll have cheat sheets on DraftKings, FanDuel, tiers. If you're into tiers, we'll have tiers as well. And then I plan on doing some showdown videos behind the paywall. So if you guys are into showdown as well, and I plan on doing these videos about every night on every one of these slates. So a quick question here. Daniel Patterson says, who do you like better at power forward, Kuzma or Green? I think J-Mike's going to see more minutes. He's probably going to be more popular. Kuzma's got a ceiling. Maybe Anthony Davis's eye is not completely healed up. I mean, I think you can play both of them, but I think I'd rather go Green right now. Let's see what she spit out here. So just spitting it out with the projections that we had overall, we're getting 70%. Paul George, Zion, Clarkson. Those are the top three, followed by Rudy, Mitchell. So look at that. Out of the top five guys, three are Utah Jazz, and because a lot of it has to do with their price and their matchup with that up-tempo matchup against the Pelicans. Kuzma right there at 64%. Again, we have him projected around 11% owned. So back to your question there, Daniel Patterson. If you want to go lower on him, if you think Kuzma's a little too high, you can come over here and say, okay, I don't like that projection on him. Let me click on this and let me hate his projection. It'll drop him 10%. And then we can rerun it like this. So it's a quick way to adjust their projection if you don't like it, if you think he's too high, or maybe you think J Mike is too low and you're at 16, you're like, no, I think he's going to get more than that. You can boost him up 10% or 15. It's just a quick way to adjust projections. Unless you want to come over this box and you don't like the projection that we have, you can come over and type whatever you want. But if you're doing something real quick, that's a quick way to do it. Wrestlinger says, do you look for injuries to pop up like baseball? A ton of pitching injuries, like figured not time to get in shape. I think these guys have had enough time. They've been playing enough ball. I think NBA's done a way better job than baseball has. I'm really not impressed with the way baseball's handled this COVID thing. We kind of saw it with the Marlins and how they are, how many of those guys, caught COVID and kind of had to, was it 3 or 4 games where they're not going to play? They should have done the bubble concept like the NBA does. So I think with all these games with kind of like a extended preseason this summer that they're doing, I think they're going to be fine. I don't think we'll see as many injuries. We could see more. I think they've done a good enough job where if you're looking, they're catching, the COVID thing is a lot easier. Now, if one guy gets it and he slips in, maybe we're going to have a mess on our hands, but you just got to stay vigilant here. The first couple days we're playing and just kind of see how it goes. But I think overall we should be okay. Now, Anthony Davis, is he going to, pull an Anthony Davis and be probable or doubtful the whole damn, rest of the NBA? That's just Anthony Davis. But overall, I don't think we'll see it too much. But it'd be wrong. We'll have to see how it goes. So after we reran this thing, again, we're still going to get a ton of Jordan Clarkson. And at his price, in a 2-game slate here, if you're trying to get over the field on certain guys, you got to take stands, man. You might want to lock button a guy like Jordan Clarkson. He's a pure shooter. That's what he's going to do. But he has all the usage in the world off the court. I mean, when he's on the court in that second unit. So we've seen it before. And he's just too cheap at 4,200. So there's a few guys here like him, Paul George. George looked good, man. A few of these games that I've watched, I have no problem going heavy on him. And then, like I said, AD and LeBron James, they're always playable on a 2-game slate. But when we pop out the optimal here, they're not showing. They're going more heavy on the Jazz, which I don't think I would go. Mitchell and they could all hit value. They're all cheap enough. Zion at 7,500 is too cheap. Who's going to body up against Zion? Where they can put Royce O'Neal on him. Derek Favors should be up against Gobert. So they don't really have anyone that can guard a guy like Zion on that team. So if he's playing, he should really dominate that price tag. Lonzo Ball's been shooting really well. So, I like this lineup that's spitting out right here. It always feels like Mitchell screws me. He's going to be really high owned. I might just be even with the field on that at 60%, maybe a little bit lower. But it is way too cheap. Second lineup, it did pop out AD here. And again, Deion Waiters at 3,100. I think this is the kind of guy that can win you a tournament. He's a wild card. We didn't see him playing with the Lakers before the COVID nonsense hit. So that's kind of going to be guys like this that I'm going to be a little overweight on. But when you're coming in here, like I said, if we want to get more of him to pop, it's really easy in our domination station here to make him pop. All you got to do is come over here to Waiters. We got him at 17 fantasy points right now, about 19 minutes. Those minutes could, we'll have to see how they go. They could be a lot less than that as well. What's nice is he's a small forward as well. So say we're like, I think he's going to get more than that because he's a shooter. If he gets hot, kind of like J.R. Smith, they get hot, throw him in there. I throw him in there like that, and then I'll rerun it. Boost him up 15% if I don't like that projection. But for the most part, I'm going to be going through these projections again tonight before I do a final upload. If we have any injury news that hits, I'm going to be on this all the time. So we will definitely make sure this thing is up to date at all times. And if guys are out, they will be out of this thing. So you can trust it. Both of my 6-figure, 100,000 wins that I won in NBA have all been from this optimizer. So if you want to try this $1 million with me tomorrow, man, get on in here. These are all my projections that I put in here, and we're going to be chatting it up all day tomorrow. I think lock is at 6:30 tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 6:30 Eastern time. The Jazz and the Pelicans, and then followed by the Lakers. I'm just stoked, man. I'm just stoked. So David asked me, do you mess with the optimizer? I mess with the lines. They get me lost. I trust the optimizer. Yeah, man. If you trust the projections that are in there, yeah, go for it. I still think that you need to build lineups on how you think the games are going to go. So, if you think the Pelicans are going to dominate the Jazz, then maybe you go a little heavier on the Pelican guys and boost those guys up a little bit and maybe bring the Jazz down a little bit. So when you're building lines in this thing, always go in and have a game plan on anything you do. If it's a showdown slate, if it's a 2-game slate like this, in your mind, think about how the slate is going to go and then adjust projections accordingly. If you think the Clippers are going to dominate the Lakers or vice versa, maybe bump up the Clippers a little bit and pull the Lakers down a little bit. You got to get different to win this thing. Everyone's going to have, I'm sure there's going to be a share at $1 million. It's not one person's going to win it. But where are these guys that are going to be loaned? If we look at ownership projections right now and we start at the top, everyone's going to have these top guys. Everyone. Again, we got Clarkson 40%. I want double that. But let's come down to these guys they're going to try to win you that million and then see if we can find some of these guys like JaVale McGee at 18%. We've seen him dominate and we've seen him just completely suck. So as priced at 3,600, probably going to be a little bit over this 18. If we come down here, Marcus Morris, he can get hot and he can get interesting. So for, a guy that's 15% owned, maybe you want double him. Jermichael Green at 14%. I think he'll be higher than this with the news, so I'll update those ownership projections tomorrow. He probably needs to be bumped up a little bit here. Same with Kyle Kuzma. These guys down here, Reggie Jackson, this could be, again, a 10%, 4,600. This is another guy that could take you over the edge. This is where you win the tournaments down here. Everything's about ownership projection. And if you think guys are going to exceed their value down here and they're really low owned, maybe 3 or 4x the field that you think they're going to be at. Maybe KCP is going to completely suck and Deion Waiters is going to come in and be that catalyst off the bench. Maybe Favors is in here at 9%. He goes and he just absolutely dominates. I will say if Zion is out, this projection of Favors will go up. He'll get a lot more rebounds. I like him a lot more then. But if he's not, that's probably about where I like him. Again, Deion Waiters is around 8%. I'll be over that. I'm just kind of like taking one of those stands. All my Cook ownership will just go on Waiters. I doubt I'll have any Cook. So yeah, down here again, all this stuff gets updated constantly as I see news come in. So make sure you jump in here with DFSArmy, man. I know you're playing Danny Green. On a 2-game slate, I am playing Danny Green. I'm just not going to have 30% of Danny Green. I'll probably be under that, but I will have some Danny Green as much as I dislike that guy. Stephen June says, hey, Keg, is the Millie Maker worth entering if you can't max? Say 75 lines. Oh, for 100% sure, especially if this thing overlays like I think it's going to overlay. Like I said, I've talked about before, these top-heavy contests that these are different, kind of like baseball. These are completely different, man. You're going for life-changing money at a reasonable, it's not like, say, Friday Slate. Friday Slate is a $25 entry, $1 million up top. Not everyone can max that. But kind of like baseball on the opening day of baseball when it was very similar price point entry fee, $600 and you get a shot at $1 million or at least a share of it, say it's only 10 lines or something that gets that share and, you got 6 figures. So you have to go after this. And it's NBA, man, it's back. It's just, you got to love it. So all the stuff where I say with the top heavy contest and only play 50 in there, for me, I throw all that out the window on something like this, especially with how much I think this is going to overlay. There's no way these are going to fill. We saw it with baseball. And so just get in there. Again, get in the tools, the cheat sheets that we have. I'm going to get my cheat sheet done for DraftKings. I'll be doing the DraftKings ones for DFSArmy. That will be up tonight. Let me look at the schedule here. I think Mutt's on the FanDuel one. He'll also have tiers. So those will both be up. And I think Madness is going to do a core 4 as well. So got to get in here, man. DFSArmy. If you're not a member, jump on in. And let's try to win this $1 million, man. If it's not me, I hope hope to see the helmets at the top. That's all I can say. Hopefully we can keep dominating. And I know Razzle had a shot at $1 million on opening day for baseball. I think he got 11th in that millie on FanDuel. And I hope we see some helmets up there at the top on tomorrow night. Again, jump on in there, DFSArmy.com. 20% off. Use promo code CashKeg. Get in there. Be in chat. Any questions? Let's get after it, fellas. Deuces.